All right, so this is how the Pathfinder will come. It'll come with this really cool cylinder cardboard box. And so it is a collaboration between Charles Wiggins Flashlights and Viking's EDC. So, or Viking's Custom Metal Works EDC, I should say. So just to cover the basics on the box, or I shouldn't say box, on the cylinder packaging, it actually tells you a bunch of really relevant information. So it says, let's get close. So it says 14500 lithium ion, and it can actually take button top or flat top. Charles confirmed that for me. It's got a drag and driver, thermal regulation, voltage regulation, 3 power levels per LED with power level memory. Okay, so I'll go through what that means, but it's basically, it's got 2 emitters, so 2 LEDs, and each of them have 3 levels, and they are all memorized, those levels. Then the LEDs. So we have a Cree XP-G3, which comes in at about 2200 Kelvin. So that is that one. Nice and warm. I mean, come on. And then we have the Samsung 351D 5000, which is 5000K, which is one of my favorites for CRI, because it's just a very, very beautiful white light with gorgeous color rendering. So I love that. And then down here it just says sapphire lens, copper heat sink, 375 max lumens, which is plenty, and titanium hardware. So that means titanium clip, titanium screws, because this light is actually made of aluminium. So before we go into anything, let's just weigh it. And it's got the battery in it, so we'll weigh it with the battery because that's how it's going to be used and carried. So with the battery, it comes in at 84.26 grams. And actually, let's just compare that with a couple of titanium 14500. So the DC0 with a battery as well comes in at 82.21. And the Raylight titanium LAN Apple comes in at 76.9, and that is also with a battery. So the aluminium is the heaviest, and you might be thinking, well, it's aluminium. Why is it so heavy? And it's not so heavy, but the reason why it is quite heavy is because look at this. Okay, so this is one of the first things I noticed when I put the battery in it. Look at the difference in thickness of the walls. That thick wall here versus that thin wall here. So now I spoke to Charles about this. I bought this light from a friend of Charles's named Brian Justice. Thank you, Brian. You're a legend. And as soon as the Pathfinder was announced, I knew I wanted one because I love floody beams and I love mules. And as soon as I realized that this had 2 emitters in it, I thought, man, this is like 2 lights in one. It can be like a bedside light, but also taken from the bed. And then as the day moves on, you can swap it to brighter light if you need, and then I mean, it's like an all-in-one light. It's really brilliant, but it's very purpose built. You're not going to pick this up for a search and rescue team and try and see far away. So that's not what it's built for. It's built for close range. But the thickness of the walls here, Charles told me, is for heat or thermal, like better thermals. So meaning that it doesn't get as hot. So then as the driver and the emitter, starts to generate heat from energy from being on, then it transfers into the light, I guess. And so the purpose of building such a thick walled light is to absorb that heat so that the light doesn't get too hot. And I tell you what, they nailed it, because this light does not get too hot, and it is not even uncomfortable when it's run on the highest output. You hold it at its head, moving around, and yep, you'll feel it warm up, but it does not get uncomfortable. You do not need to move your hand back here or anything like that. So the thickness of this light is awesome. Now, something that people may dislike about this light is the finish. So this is a stonewash finish, and it scuffs up very easily. See all the scuffs on there? Now, I haven't been too hard on this light. Like, I've used it a lot because it's really such a cool light, but I haven't been too hard on this light, and as you can see, there's marks all over it. Now, personally, I like that. I don't dislike the fact that it scuffs easily because number one, it adds character. Number two, this is a light I'm going to keep. And number three, it shows you signs of use. You know, I am somebody who is guilty of babying my lights. And when I buy a light like this that scuffs easy, I no longer feel like I need to baby it because look at it. It's dirty as. It's not being babied. And so therefore, you know, I can grab it, I can chuck it in the center console of the car or anything like that. Whereas, you know, look at this. This is a new DC0. I was able to acquire one of the Friday the 13th DC0s. And it's in such pristine condition that, you know, I still, like the first time I drop it, you know, my heart's going to sink because like, oh no, what's going to happen to it? It's a beautiful light, da 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 da. And I hate that. It's like a characteristic about myself that I hate because these lights are built by the makers. They put their time, effort, friggin' blood, sweat, and tears into these lights for us to enjoy and use. They do not belong sitting on a friggin' bench for months on end, you know, without being used. And so I kind of have this rule about customs because they are so expensive. It's like, if I don't use it for a couple of weeks, man, it is gone. It's cut from the team. I sell it because I need to be using these lights the way the makers designed them for. And so this light is a purpose-built light for what I love, which is a spread of light. Okay, so let's just get it onto the white light. Okay, so that's what you're going to get. That's what a mule is. A mule just gives you an even beam. So you're looking at something here, you can move the light and it's not going to change the beam whatsoever. It's great for hand shadows and things like that if you want to get funny. But it really is a phenomenal all-purpose built light for throwing a spread of light, a wave of light out in front of you so you don't have to really focus it on anything. It just gives you this wash of beautiful, clean light everywhere in front of you. So let's take the 30 degree DC, 30 degree DC0 beam. So that's a 30 degree optic. So that's a little bit more focused, obviously, because it is an optic, whereas this is nothing. It's just a mule. It's just a bare emitter behind glass or sapphire. So this is also a lovely kind of floody light that I really, really love. I love the 30 degree optic because it does give a nice wash of light. But when you compare that to that, I mean, there's no comparison. The Mule just covers far more light than the 30 degree optic of the DC0. And then of course, a reflector beam looks like that. So a reflector, you've got, you know, the hot spot, the spill, the standardized way of a beam that, you know, most torches look like. So this has quickly become one of my most used and favorite lights, really. I love it. And as I said, as soon as I saw this advertised, I actually hit up Brian straight away and I was like, hey dude, are you gonna get your hands on these? Can I get one? And then I couldn't afford it at the time. And then I was able to move some lights around and actually buy it because I knew that I would love it for an everyday carry light. But also, it's just so useful. Like that there is one of the best moonlight modes you can imagine. And you know what would really top this light off is if it had like tritium in it or like a glow ring or something so you could see it at nighttime. Sometimes I attach a tritium like bead to it so I can see it at nighttime if I want to use this as my nighttime like bedside light. But I also feel like it's so useful outside when you're going for a walk that it's wasted as a bedside light. However, it's friggin' 2 lights in one. So you can use it as a bedside light and then you can also use it as an outside light. So the way it works is very simple. It just cycles through the modes. So the lowest mode, medium, high, and then it'll swap emitters. Now it's in the lowest mode of the other emitter, medium, high. Okay, so it's very simple and memory for everything. So this light it pockets brilliantly. The one kind of thing that a lot of people have mentioned and I kind of agree with is that the tension on the clip is a little bit too much. It's definitely a pocket shredder. So, but again, I spoke to Charles about that and he said it was designed specifically that way so that it can be notched onto bags, belts, or whatever whilst you're walking through the bush and it's not going anywhere. So in terms of the design, they nailed it because this clip is bloody strong. But it does loosen up over time. I've actually just like practiced bending it a little bit every now and then just to loosen it up so I can pocket it without breaking all my jeans and pockets and things like that. I've tried it with other clips on it, and honestly, I think it's perfect the way it is with this clip. It is such a nice light. Now, this machining here, I don't know if you'd call it knurling or whatever, but the machining here is very, very unique and very comfortable as well. And the other thing as well is it's a solid light. I mean, put it next to these other two 14500s, which are, very compact lights. And it's not much bigger, but the size difference makes it very, very solid. It is a solidly built aluminium light. I don't know what type of aluminium it is. I don't know, the ins and the outs of all that, but this is a solid light. I've dropped it, I've banged it, I've used it, and it just feels like a beast. It really does feel like a proper beast. Now, it does come in at, oh my God, 10 centimeters flat. Look at that, love it. It has a recessed or a shrouded tail cap, which is one of my favorite things about it as well, because not only can you tail stand it, but you're not going to accidentally turn it on. You may accidentally momentary it because it has a forward clicky switch, but you're not going to accidentally push all the way in, because look, it's quite deep. I'll turn that off. It's quite deep down there. So it's a really good design. I could ramble about this for ages. It's such a good designed light, and it gets a lot of use from me. It really does get a lot of use because it's just such a beautiful wash of light. All right, let's go to the night shots. And then I might just finish there. If you want this light, I will link it at Charles Wiggins Flashlights, and I will link it at Blade and Beam as well, because I'm pretty sure they've got some left in stock, and if they don't, maybe they'll get more. But I'll link Blade and Beam, and I'll link Charles Wiggins Flashlights either way. But let's go to the night shots so you can check out how it looks at nighttime. I think I'm down at the park for this one, and you can just see just how much light you really are given. Clean light. Just perfect vision with this beautiful Mule light. Highly recommend it. All right, guys, let's go to night shots. All right, the Pathfinder. So I have it on the lowest output of the warm light first, which is, very, very low. And then that's the step up of the warm light. And then again, the warm emitter is almost brighter, like puts out more lumens, it looks like, than the 5000K emitter, but maybe not. Let's check. Low on the 5000K, medium, high. Look at the spread of light you get. This is why I love Mules so much. Now, it's not a thrower, I mean, look at that. Can't see anything in the tree. Bloody can see everything. And the CRI is just ridiculously beautiful. But this is why I love Mules, because of the spread of light. So bloody useful going for a walk at nighttime, because you can just see everything and it comes right down to your feet. So that is sensational. Well done. I love this light. This is a damn useful light. Thick aluminium as well keeps this light from getting hot, even on the highest output for sustained time. So well done. Brilliant. And then let's just go again to the highest of the warm. Oh, look at that. Perfect for inside. Beautiful. All right, see ya.